The Juvenile Fillies is the seventh race on the Friday card, the Future Stars Breeders' Cup card on Friday at Del Mar. It's run at a mile and a 16th for 2-year-old fillies. And we'll take a look at this field and note right off the bat that non-compliant has scratched and would have been, I think, a pretty good player in this race. But it does. This one is very interesting to me, and you'd have to think so when you've got two pretty short prices in this race, and then kind of everybody else. So it makes for a very interesting betting race from that perspective. We'll take a look at them one at a time. We'll start with Vodka with a Twist. This one has had a couple of seconds in a row and is yet to go longer than 7 furlongs. Phil D'Amato is very good with first-time routers at 27%. The rail is a little troubling when you consider there's some other early lick in this race who will probably get the jump. Erod Ortiz is likely going to gun this one early, so could potentially get a ground-saving trip. But I'm just a little troubled by the last couple of seconds against some of the better horses in here, and I'm not sure 1,000 words get necessarily are really going to want 2 turns all the way. That's just a reservation I have about this one. At 20 to 1, you are getting some decent value. I think you can make a case for this horse, but I like others better, and that's really the justification for letting Vodka with a Twist go. And I drink tequila, not vodka. Anyway, Snow White is a career maiden, and in the Frisette last time was second to Scottish Lassie. Went from off the pace as opposed to being on the lead, which she did first time out, is by good magic, so 2 turns shouldn't be a problem. Danny Gargan is good with horses going to around 2 turns. And with Joel Rosario in the irons, you have to imagine this one's going to come from off the pace. But honestly, that Frisette really didn't come back a very good race, and Scottish Lassie would be really the only one I'm interested in. The rest of that field has kind of proved a bit on the disappointing side. So to me, I'm going to let Snow White go. Immersive certainly is one of the ones that you have to think about as a major player here without a doubt. I love the fact this horse has already been around 2 turns. Certainly has the pedigree for it. I really liked this horse in the stretch because she was starting to pull away, was really getting into gear as they moved down the stretch. Tactically, I think she'll be just off the leaders, and that should put her in very good position. And Brad Cox is 26% at the Breeders' Cup, and his barn is absolutely white hot right now. I think he's winning at 71% in stakes races. So very hard to overlook Immersive, and certainly is a prime win candidate for this one, and I'll be using liberally. Lucara is a horse I really liked going into the Pocahontas, but again, this is another race that has not come back very good. I watched her race prior to this, and she just looked like a world beater, and I said, I can't wait to bet her back, and I was rewarded. I got 6 to 1 on her in the Pocahontas, but the race itself just hasn't come back as that great, and the speed numbers are lower than, let's say, Immersive or some of the Noonie and some of the others. And that makes me a little tentative to get involved with Lucara. I could certainly see her getting underneath. But again, it's another case of I like others better. So I'm going to, if I use her at all, it would be for maybe the bottom of the try of the Super. Quick Kick, it really hasn't done much wrong. Ran a good second to Immersive in the Alcibiades, but the problem is at Del Mar, a small track for a horse who likes to come from well off the pace is really going to be up against it. I think this is a horse that definitely is going to like 2 turns, is already proven as such, but the track really doesn't set up very well for late runners. This is a horse you definitely can use underneath with a good degree of confidence, but not on top. I can't see it. Otomena Shacho is a Japanese import. The first thing that bothers me is being by Speightstown. They just don't run 2 turns that often. Hideyuki Mori's got a big string coming in for the Breeders' Cup, and I think this is one they just sort of brought along for the ride. Does come out of a key race with American Bikini, and they both came back to win, so that is something. but I just wonder about this one around 2 turns, and it's a bit of an unknown, and for that reason, I'm just not going to bother with her. Noonie is a horse I think is extremely interesting here. This is one that ran around 2 turns in the Oak Leaf and was very game in the stretch, being passed by non-compliant. But aside from those two, really nobody else was had a chance to win the race. This one is demonstrated a fair amount of talent, has won at Del Mar. The tab looks very good, and given the track and given the race shape, I think Noonie has a really good chance to go all the way with him in this race. And at 20-1, how often do you get a Bob Baffert at 20-1? I like Noonie as a potential upset candidate. American Bikini is a real unknown, of course, coming from Japan. There is some word that this one's got some good hops, has looked pretty good in the mornings, but and being by American Pharaoh, I think 2 turns will be okay, but hasn't run past 6 furlongs yet. And that's a bit of a concern to me. And again, I think this one's going to be a little keen early. And me at 5-1, just as a bit of an unknown for me, it has the potential more than anything else to just create a pace scenario for Immersive and confound Noonie. But being in the 9-hole may find it difficult to get the position that she needs. So I can kind of go either way with American Bikini. And then finally, we have Scottish Lassie, the winner of the Frisette, did so in very impressive fashion, but that was around 1 turn, and I do question the quality of that field. Now stretching out to 2 turns, has to step up in class. I think this one is, I liked what I saw. I liked the turn of foot. And if the question is, can she do it around 2 turns? If she can, she's going to be awful tough in here. But I just question the quality a little bit in comparison to the Alcibiades. But Scottish Lassie is certainly a horse you can use liberally in this race. So my wagering strategy, or just looking at what I'm going to use Noonie, and that's my pick. When you have 2 short-priced horses in this race, I think you got to try to find value. With a short stretch at Del Mar, the race shape may be very favorable to Noonie, and so I'm going to try to upset the apple cart. I don't have a great degree of confidence in it, I'll be honest with you, but that's the way I'm going to go. If you look at our wagering strategy, I'm going to go with Noonie to win at 15-1. That's a great price. Or 20-1, however it is. I think you're going to get some nice value. Then we'll go at 8-3 cold exacta with Immersive, who I think is the next logical candidate to win. Then we'll box the 3 and the 8, and we'll go with an exacta key with 8 on top with 3, 5, and 10. And this is early on in the Breeders' Cup, and I do have better opinions with other races, so I'm going to play it light. And we'll just try to go with Noonie and see what we'll see, and hopefully we can upset the apple cart. So that's it for the Juvenile Fillies. I hope this helps you with your own wagering strategy, and I wish you the best of luck as always. And if you do like content like this, please like and subscribe. And we appreciate those of you who have come on board so far. That's it from here. I'm going to have a lot more content, so settle in and get ready for it. It's going to be a real fun weekend of racing. And we'll have plenty of content for you to cover it all. So I'll talk to you soon. And until then, be well.